A while back, I had speculated that perhaps Mars getting well into Aquarius and away from the conjunction to Saturn, and certainly away from the traffic jam which was happening in late March, where it was together with Pluto and Jupiter, that this might be some indication of daylight. And I would say that that particular observation is pretty mixed. In my state, the state of Washington, things have improved pretty dramatically. We were one of the worst states at the beginning of this, but our governor happens to be a sensible man, and perhaps people are sensible here as well. I don't know. But the fact is, we've made pretty good progress, but we're still in lockdown. And there are places in the U.S. like New Jersey and New York that are still in a huge battle to control this thing. And overall, you have to say that the numbers that we're getting are not at all indicative of any kind of major shift. You can see that experts were saying we were perhaps flattening the curve or reaching the peak and so on, but this being the number of daily infections, I'm not seeing this at all. We're pretty much where we were, a little up and down, but in the 30,000 range. And then in terms of fatality, same thing. It seems to be going back and then it increases again. These numbers for the 22nd is today, but it's 8:30 Eastern. They're going to grow a little bit, so it'll be over 30,000 for this, probably 2,500 here. And you can see these are world numbers, and the US continues to be at nearly a third of the infections and a quarter of the deaths, which of course is quite scandalous, but let's put that aside for a moment. That is a separate topic. Now, in terms of the next astrological moment, we're coming up to it very shortly because Pluto is about to station. If we move this forward a couple of days, you see the S showing up there, and then it turns to red, which is signaling we're at the station, and then it goes retrograde. So that is a key moment that we've got coming up this weekend. However, given that in the lead up to this station, the numbers are pretty bad, I'm not confident that necessarily by the weekend they're going to improve that much. Probably it needs to move quite a bit away, like into the first week of May, maybe even the second week, because stations are that way. They're super intense at the peak, but they're quite intense a week on either side, and often 2 weeks on either side. And all of this matches pretty much what the reality of the situation is, because a lot of governors are not ready to open the economy up, and so this thing is likely to continue at least into next month. And given that if we keep going further, we see that there you have Saturn stationing on the 11th, and then Jupiter soon after that. There you go. So by the 15th of May, all three have gone retrograde, but still the stations are pretty strong then, so it might be a bit after that. So all of this is probably pointing to June being a month when perhaps things will be back to some kind of normal, in quotes. Problem is, of course, that the way the Trump administration is dealing with this, and the various Republican knuckleheads that are following him, it may be that it'll remain choppy, because it's very possible that if people open up prematurely and resume normal social activities, that the pandemic numbers will continue to be to be pretty high. Let's hope not.